Welcome back to the ID Race channel, you guys. Really excited for today's episode. We are going to get to not only the chassis certification, which is coming up here. I got a special treat for you guys. We have our new brakes that came in, as well as some tires. So those radials, boy, I tell you, they thick. But before we get to all the good stuff, let's get to the intro. See you guys in a minute. We are speed and professionals in aeromatics. So with going into drag racing, one of the big things are brakes. Obviously, stopping is a big concern for being able to slow down a car when you're going, 150, 160 mile an hour trap speeds. You got to be able to stop it quick. Parachutes can only do so much. It definitely will help slow down, but the big key factor is brakes. So in the front of the car, I am using aerospace engineering front brake assembly. In the rear of the car, we wanted to be able to make sure that is going to take most of the stopping force. The fronts, you got to think your tire's only 5 inches wide, and the actual contact patch of the tire that's touching the ground is about the size of a rear tire or front tire of a motorcycle. So the contact patch is very small for being able to actually slow the car down. So instead of skidding the fronts, most of your brake bias on a drag car is going to be in the rear. In doing that, that's the bigger tire, so we want to be able to slow the car down. So we put on, as you can see here, Strange Engineering brake kit and rotor. So with this kit is made for the big end 9-inch with an 8/8. 4 piston calipers and nice rotor, slotted rotor, and this is for 1.5 or half-inch studs. So this brake assembly is definitely going to give us the stopping power that we need, and it was bolt-on. So really like that fact as well. Made it easy. Sometimes just keeping things simple is better than trying to overcomplicate things. Cost-wise, these were not that expensive. I paid $770 for a full kit. Part number, not really 100% sure, but it was basically for a Ford 8/8 with 9-inch ends on it. And the gentleman that built the rear end gave me the part number. I ordered it. Legitimately, these suckers bolted right on. I had to put one shim in to center the actual caliper, but everything is perfect. So we're going to give this one a shot. And try this for our braking power. Should not be disappointed in that. I know that there's a lot of good ones out there for brakes and whatnot, but I went with this knowing that the gentleman that built the rear end recommended these as a great brake option, as well as it was almost like a thoughtless purchase. Instead of calling different brake manufacturers and giving back spacing of the, or I should say, the bearing size and all this. The guy that built the rear end already knew exactly what all the dimensions were, and I just asked him for his best recommendation. And if he had a part number, he sent me this. I bought it. So that went pretty easy. The install was not hard at all. Literally bolted right on. The only thing that I had to do, and maybe you can see this in there, but so the only thing I had to do is this part here. I had to cut the actual brake mounting plate to be able to fit around the axle itself, but that was it. So very little modifications. And I was somewhat concerned on cutting the brake plate, but the gentleman that recommended these said that he'd cut hundreds of them and never had an issue, so I figured I'd be okay. Now going into a very exciting part of this build is our radials. So I said before, the 26s on the slicks were not that big. So wanting to switch it around to drag radials, Instead of getting like a 235 26-inch all tire, I was like, you know what? It didn't really look that great on 26s. Let's throw some meaty 28s on there with a 275. Let me show you what we're working with previously before and what your girl said about the guy that you shouldn't have to worry about. So with the tires, these ones were 26 by 8.5 by 15s. These were stiff wall for drag racing for a stick shift car. So these did work very well. It did have a little bit of life left, but these were getting down to the wear strips. So with that, these tires were about done. That's not a little tire. I mean, at 8.5 inch wide, they actually measure out to be 9.5. So these worked very well for the drag car. But let's move over to what we now are working with. Now in comparison, drag radial, ET Slick. Drag radial, ET Slick. Different tire compounds. These perform completely different from each other. So these are made to dead hook and go. These are made to give a little bit of spin and wheel speed to launch the car and squat. These, anti-squat, dead hook, and go. That's why we are converting the rear end so it can handle a dead hook and not break. But looking at that tire difference, this is a 10-inch wide. This is an 8.5, which actually measures to be about 9.5. But it definitely isn't 9.5. I mean, that is literally looks like 8.5. That a true pro ET radial tire. So super happy. Mickey Thompson is what we went with. So these are the 275 60R 15s. Definitely going to be able to do it. We are going to use the same weld wheels that I had previously before. Granted, the wheels I had before are not beadlock. So at some point in time, this is going to end up switching to a beadlock, but they will fit the current rims that I have, which makes my life a whole lot easier. So I'll bring these out this weekend to get mounted. We should see those on the car before the end of the video when we go to get this thing assembled and certified. Everything for progress at this point in time, couldn't be happier with. Things are moving along very quickly. Big parts are being installed, which always helps kind of that end motivation to be able to see it come to fruition. So super excited about that. Let's get to tomorrow morning. We have a gentleman coming to certify the cage, see where we're at. I think we're going to see a pass here. I'm very, very confident in the progress that we've made on the cage. And yeah, we're going to hope, fingers crossed, that we're going to make it there. But yeah, let's see what he says. All right, y'all, today is the day. It's chassis certification day. Super excited for about what is going to happen. Kind of nervous, but at the same point, I assure you, the gentleman that's helping us out in doing this, very methodical and meticulous as to being able to have the cage safety-wise, tip-top shape, going through all the bars, sonic testing, the wall thickness. If we pass or if we fail, hopefully we pass. But one thing that we did today, start off this morning is, oh, look at those meats on that guy. We got some big old 275s. Now that is the stance that we're looking for. Definitely nice clearance. That is a 28-inch tall tire. She tucks up nice in the front. In the back, we got all of our clearances. Everything's looking good there. So coming out from the bottom of the car just looks way badass. Definitely what we wanted to be able to have that. So let's get with Jim. He should be here any minute to be able to go through the cage certification. Now we got the car on the ground, got our big old fat meats on there, some 28-inch tall 275s. Super happy with that. And let's see what Jim has to say about the cage. And I really appreciate you coming by, Jim, and putting on. Did it pass certification? That's the one thing I gotta know.
It's gonna pass for a 750, 3,600 pound car.
3,600 pounds. She's going to be lighter than that, though. It better be lighter than 3,600. No, I really appreciate you coming by, though. So thank you very much for that. And then where are you putting that?
On the main hoop, just below the curve.
Perfect.
I'll put it right here where everybody can see.
Thank you for that. That'll make for a good video.
The
So
sun.
the sun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming by, Jim. So thank you very much for coming out here.
Be safe. If you hit the wall at 150 miles an hour, you'll walk away.
That's what it's supposed to do. There we have it. Jim, man of very few words. The car is certified at 7.5 seconds for ET. That's a lapse time over a quarter mile. Mile an hour really doesn't matter, but the car can weigh up to 3,600 pounds and can go 7.5 seconds. Like I said, hopefully the car does not weigh 3,600 pounds and we are done, because if that's the case, this baby fat and we ain't going 750. But it gives us at least the safety requirements to meet NHRA rule book that the cage is now certified, and we can put this baby back together and let's go fast. Check you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, see you later.